I need to ask another question. So tell me, what is a PVC membrane?
So PVC is polyvinyl chloride, of course. It dates back more than 50 years now in roofing. We've been importing PVC. We started in Germany back in 1978 and ran about 20 years before we moved to a North American plant here, which we've enjoyed domestic production, if you will, in North America for the last 22 years.
All right. What is the difference between TPO and PVC?
Well, that's a moving target.
Not bashing, but just like, what's the main difference of a TPO and PVC?
So not only the chemical makeup, but I think you have to look at geographically where it's sold. Everyone wants to lean on the heritage and history of Europe, but if you go to Europe, TPO is more expensive than PVC in Europe. It's a premier product. Well, why is that? In here in North America, the TPO is half the cost. Well, because it's a drastically different product. TPO here is designed to be above grade. It has to be flame retardant. It has to be exposed to the elements. That's not so much the case in Europe, where it's primarily used in below grade applications, garden roofs and ballasted applications and others. But really, they're very similar in how they look and feel. It's truly how they perform. I think one of the biggest characteristics is the flame resistance. PVC, being polyvinyl chloride, is naturally fire resistant. We do add flame retardant to it, but it's a minor amount. But you can take a PVC, whether it's a day old or 10 years old, and put a match to it, and as soon as you pull away that match, it instantly goes out.
Unbelievable.
TPO is not the same. TPO, if you put a match to it, it's going to support combustion. It's going to burn. Is it not Class A rated? No, it actually meets all the Class A requirements. But if you go back and do any of those UL testing where they put it on a slope and they burn it, it stops literally just a few inches before the clock runs out. But that product keeps burning right off the table, and they put it out with a fire extinguisher every time. So I'd say that the two biggest differences would be the natural flame resistance of PVC over that of TPO, both new and aged. And then the second thing I think would be weldability. PVC has a much wider, we call it a welding window, the point at where it melts at a low temperature but chars at a high temperature. TPO is much smaller. The welding window is much more narrow. And then PVC, for the most part, can be welded 5 years, 10 years down the road. TPO is difficult to weld initially, and then even more problematic when it's 5, 6, or more years old.
All right.